Okay, we're going to do building your Windows program with a Setup.EXE. And you're going to want a Setup.exe if you want to distribute it on the web. I mean, you can distribute the zipped up file directory if you want, but sometimes people might place things in the wrong directories. It doesn't work, and they're going to ask you. And this process is pretty simple. Um, First thing we're going to do is on the PowerPoint slide that goes with this, it's going to have you download a file. And in this case, it's going to, let's say that this is the link I got. Yours may be different. You'll type, and the browser will take you to someplace, right? And it's thinking, okay, all right, don't know what that is. So we're going to download myclassproject.iss, and we're going to place it where you placed your my project. In my case, it's on my PC in the E drive in Unity in my project, and so I'm going to place it in the top level of the project. I'm going to call it myclassproject.iss, save. So we have that file. The next thing I want you to do is go to this web page. The link will also be in the PowerPoint, jrssoftware.org. Go to InnoSetup, download InnoSetup, scroll down. I live in the US, so I'll click here, and it'll download it. And I already have one, so I'll just say yes for right now. All right, and then download is complete. You run it and you install it. I already have it installed, but you just double click here or however your browser does it and install the program. All right, so now you've installed the ISS file, and when you install it, it'll ask you if you want to associate the ISS file with that program. Say yes, because that way you can just do what we're about to do. You can go to your project where the ISS file is. And since you've associated the ISS extension to that particular Inno program, you can just double click and up pops this tool with this script in it that's horrible. But it's not that complicated. And there's some basic editing you will do. Like for example, when you define something, it's called a constant in the INNO setup program. So we make a constant called myAppName, and this is what you called it, right? This is what I'm calling it. If you did the same name, then you don't change that. This is your company name. If you don't want your company name in there, that's fine. Or if you don't have a company, you could type, like Doug Royer Home Edition. Whatever you want to put in here. And this is going to be the subfolder on the menu. Like for example, here, Android Studio, has a folder, and then underneath it's that, and so on. And so this is the folder name that your application is going to be installed in when you run the Setup.exe. This again is also just something that's displayed to the user at various stages. I can show you where that's at a little bit later. So this can be anything you want. I don't like spaces in folder names or in application names because some tools just get goofy when they have spaces in them. You can put spaces in them if you want. Here's the version. So let's go back to our application. Oops, that's the hub. Where is my project? Don't tell me I closed it. Oh, here it is. Edit project settings. Make sure this is the way you want. Highlight the version. Copy. And make sure that's the same version in here. Paste, right? You don't want them mismatched because if you ship an exe file out there and the guy says, it runs funny except for version 3, and you go to version 3 on yours and it's a different one. So I always try to keep the versions the same. If you have a web page, this isn't exactly correct, but it will be when you download it. Put where your web page is. If you don't have one, then just ignore this line. And this is where it'll tell users, actually just comment the line out if you don't, because I don't think this is used anywhere in here. I guess it is. So if you want a web page, if you don't have a web page, pick something because it wants to have a web page. Pick Google, pick something, right? But this is where, or wherever yours is. And this is where the setup file is. This is not where the web application is. This is where the setup file is that they're going to download. And it could take them, like, it could be the, I could say like this, right? I could add my first project Setup.EXE, right? And then instead of going to a web page, it would actually download the exe file in one big step, or you can have it go to a web page and then they read like we did with the Inno stuff, and then they click download and so on. Whatever you want to do or not, that's what this is for. Your application name is going to be the app name, which is my first project.exe, as opposed to the setup.exe, which is a little later. This directory, remember when we built from our top level folder, our main project, we created a directory called builds, and in that we created a directory called Windows. And that is where this is. We're saying get the files we're going to put in the setup.exe and from the build Windows directory. And this is just kind of magic stuff. Here, the app ID. This uniquely identifies your application. So you can have 80 versions, but the application number is the same. The app ID number is. So I want you to put the mouse cursor between these two curly braces, go to Tools, and generate a GUID, or a Global Unique ID. And it's going to ask you, are you sure you've got the cursor in the right place? Yes. Bingo. This is your globally unique ID for your program. No matter how many times you change the version, this is a global ID. And you'll notice it has two curly braces at the beginning and two curly braces at the end. That's not a mistake. And save, because we modified our setup file that we downloaded. And is it in here? Yeah, it is in there. Okay, good. So, oh yeah, warning. If you double click on this again accidentally, it brings up another copy, which can be really annoying if you edit it in one copy and save it in the other, and then you go, I know I changed that. So just be careful and don't start two edits from the same file. This is just telling it that you want the application name to be what you've defined above, and so on and so forth. This is telling it what directory to put the program in. So in this case, it's going to install your application auto programs folder. So it will install it, in my case, C: program files, x86, RiverExplorer application name. That's the directory it's going to install your application in. And you can change this by just changing up here. That's your application name. This is the company name, which you're going to be using a couple of places. One of the places is where it's going to put the files on your computer. The second place it's going to use here is this. In the Start menu, like Android Studio has a folder, a pull-down folder, whatever, right? This is, I'm using my company name. You can hard code it too if you want. Like, for example, instead of doing this, you could say, comment this. Let's copy this. You could say, I don't want it in one, I want this in Doug's stuff. And it would install it in a program folder over here with that name. But I like to keep them the same so I don't get lost, right? All RiverExplorer games go into RiverExplorer. All uh, program files go into a program file called RiverExplorer. Everything matches up a little easier. Disable program groups page. If you set this to no or to auto, then it'll ask the user where they want the menu to be. You can do that if you want. I don't even give the user the option. I like to make it so that they know where it is. But they can, if you want them to be able to change that, that's fine. License file. In this directory is you'll download this link from the web, and it'll download a license.txt file, a default one, which will download. Like here, we'll go here, which is really a long one, and I'll go to the browser and I'll paste that in, and it'll blink a couple of times, and here's one. I don't know why all of a sudden I had to sign in, but it allows the file. Oh, this is the public link, not mine. So in your case, select everything, right-click, copy, and then is what I do. I'm going to delete this, and we'll start from scratch. Okay, from your top of your project, right-click. You can put it. No, let's just put it in here. Doesn't matter. Right-click, new text file. Where is this text document? And we're going to call it license. Or make it exactly the same as this. Make sure it's the same here. That's all uppercase. So we're going to rename this. I'm going to actually delete it because it's hard to change it from uppercase to lowercase. A new text file called license.txt. Oop, not two dots. All right, just make sure the file names are the same. Same, all uppercase, because that can matter. And we had this in our copy buffer, so we're going to paste this software license in. You can change this or not use one if you want. 2024, my name here, right? That's, you put your name in there. And that's just, and then file save, right? And we're going to close this. And if you don't want a license file at all, just comment it out. Now, it's going to build a Setup.exe file in, going back to here, the top of your project in build, so it'll create, in my case, I already tried this once, it's going to create my first project, Setup.exe. I don't like it in the Windows directory because sometimes I want to do a clean build and I want to delete everything out of here and start from scratch. I don't want to accidentally delete Setup.exe. I can always delete it manually. I just like them separate. Notice the icon here is just a general Unity icon. We'll cover that in a second. So anyway, the output directory is build. It's going to go into the builds directory. If I wanted it in the Windows one, I would do that, right? The name of the Setup.exe is going to be your application name, Setup.exe. If you just want it to be Setup.exe, you take out that, and then it'll be Setup.exe. The icon, again, here's another one of these, right? This from weird things from the web. This is from a share of a OneDrive. Microsoft hosts the OneDrive stuff for me. So this is a default Unity icon which you can use. And let's go to the web browser and see what it does for us. Close that. Paste that in here. It's going to think. And then we're going to download it. And I'm going to download it to my downloads directory. Save. And then I'm going to go, I'm just going to pick one here, and I'm going to go to downloads, default Unity icon, copy, because I hate to cut sometimes and forget. Then I'm going to go to my directory for my project, which in my case again is PC source Unity. My project, yours will probably be different. Assets. Oh, no, let's not do it this way. This is the wrong way to do it. Let's go back to the project. And actually, I'm going to kind of cheat here. Well, no, actually, we can do it from the project. Why is this not coming up? I'm having some PC problems here. Okay, the project, oh, there we go. The project popped up. It was just sleepy. Now, I had already done that. So in my, there's nothing else in here. So what I'm going to do, and this is, so I'm going to delete the folder, and you'll have something like this, right? You may already have an image directory, but if not, create a folder, images, right? And then right-click on images and import new asset, and go to downloads, and where is it? I didn't put cut, did I? My goodness, did I cut that already? Where did that file go? Did I put it in documents accidentally? No. I have no idea where that went. Not a big loss. Let's go back here and see what I did wrong. Copy. Go back to the browser. Paste. It's probably going to tell me it's there. I don't know why it didn't show up. Download. It says it's there in my this PC downloads. Say, normally it shows at the top of the list, but it didn't. So anyway, close all of this. Downloads, I have no idea. Let's go to name. Maybe it'll just sort them differently. Somewhere in here is that file. You just saw me put it there. Oh, quick access. Let's try this. This PC downloads. Looks the same. I have absolutely no idea why that's not showing up here. That is strange. So if this happens to you, you're not broken. Something else is. So, I wonder how I can do this. We'll have to do it manually, which is generally not recommended. Maybe it's because Unity doesn't like ICO files. That could be. Maybe it doesn't like them at all. So, my project asset, resources, images. All right. Now, I'm going to bring up a second one and go to my downloads. And there it is. Yeah, Unity didn't like an ICO file name, so it didn't show it. Copy. Now, generally, you want to do all this with Unity. You don't want to do it with copy paste into Unity. So now we have the icon file in there. Don't know why Unity doesn't like icon files. Evidently, it doesn't use them, so it won't let you. So, all right, we have that there in your project assets resource images, and it matches. Sorry for all that confusion, but that's what live developing does. I've done this before, I just probably forgot it. So it's an asset, resources, images, default Unity icon. I would recommend if you're going to ship, definitely recommend if you're going to ship a project, not just have a couple of friends look at it, that you create your own icon file. See, and you can do it from, if you're a graphic artist, you can create a little icon file. You can use a picture that you like, but you have to convert a PNG file or a JPEG or whatever else the file types are anymore, I don't remember, to Microsoft ICO file. There's a couple of ICO files, so make sure it's a Microsoft ICO file, which is an icon file. And that's where that goes. We want the Setup.EXE compressed to make it smaller. We want to use the standard, make it look like a setup install. You can go to Help, Documentation, and find out what all of this stuff does, including what this does. I'm just going to leave it at modern. I only speak English, so I've never looked this up. Now we're doing, there's two types of build. There's an IL to CPP, which we'll do next. And right now we're doing a mono build. So make sure that this is for the mono build section. Make sure all of the mono stuff is like this, not commented out like this. All right. Here, I don't know why they call it icons. These are the links. This basically says for the menu bar, the menu over here, create this is for the desktop icon, the first one. Is create a desktop icon with your application name that points to where you installed it. And this one says make a menu item group application name point to the program, and the group we got from up here somewhere. Default group name is your company name. So it'll create, in my case, RiverExplorer / application name in the menu. And this takes a little while, so there's a build and run, and it's much like the with Unity. So you type build compile. You can stop the compile too if you want. And it says I have an error. There's no such file or directory. Oh yeah, it's not where it's at. It's here. But now you see what an error is. Let me put that back and show you something else. Build compile, line 106. Sometimes it doesn't highlight the line number. So you can go to Edit, go to Line, and type in 106, and then it'll go to the line number. I don't know why sometimes it tells you and sometimes it doesn't, but we didn't put it in a license subfolder. We put it here. Save this so I don't forget. Now I'm going to do a build compile. This takes a little bit, so I'm going to see you in the next video.